Hello, everybody. It's Joy of the Garden and Home. Welcome to another Wednesday winter chat. I'm here today with my special guest, Robin Gardens. Hi, Robin.
Hey, Joy.
How are
Glad
you?
to be here.
Good. So, let's see. We're going to be talking about seeds and gardening and all sorts of good stuff today. But first, I'm going to complain about the weather again. That's what I always do on a Wednesday. Because February for me is like I think it's for the majority of us, except for like your 4-3-2 zones. It's pretty much like go time for starting a lot of stuff. And also, I like to get outside. I start to get outside in February because the weather gives us a few days of in the up in the 40s. That's like that's like 5 Celsius. In those temperatures, it's a little bit more tolerable for me, and I can be out there for longer periods of time. But this February has not given me that at all. It has been cold so far. And the next 10 days doesn't look any better. And even if it does go up into the 40-degree range, it's still windy, super windy. So it's not enjoyable at all to be outside. So this is really setting me back on my winter sowing because that I'm doing that outside. Everything is outside. Everything's frozen outside. So I'm really annoyed that I can't do anything outside. Plus, I feel like I'm wilting here without all the vitamin D that I need. I'm, taking the drops and everything. But hi, trolls. How are you? All right,
Hey.
sorry. Your turn. How's your weather doing over there? And you're in
Well,
Chicago, correct?
I am. I am northwest of Chicago in the burbs, and we have 3 to 5 inches falling right now,
Oh, wow.
and it's going to get down to like -3 by tomorrow night,
Mhm.
and -6 by Saturday night. So we're we're dipping way down and staying there for a bit.
Yep, that's us too. But yeah, we're gonna see a little bit of snow, but then it's gonna turn to rain. But yeah, it's up and down. And I recently heard somebody say that the positioning of the sun to Earth right now in this season, that we're gonna have a cooler spring. I don't know about that. I haven't checked the science data, but possibly a cooler spring. So
Well,
yay!
that could be advantageous, couldn't it?
It
Because
could. It could.
so often, the cool weather crops, when we just go from winter to summer without a spring,
Mm-hmm.
try to bolt immediately.
Yes.
So that's kind of a bummer.
But yeah,
Maybe we'll
definitely a
get
lot
to get
more.
some of our spring crops.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
Great.
Ah. Is it true that you get really windy, the windy city, in Chicago?
I do. I get very windy here, but it gets its name from the politics. That's why they call it the Windy
Oh,
City.
okay. I get it.
Mhm.
And that lake you have by you, is that contributing to your weather patterns, your mini climates?
It does. I'm not quite close enough to the lake
Oh,
here at home to be incredibly affected by it.
oh.
When we're up in Door County, we're right on it,
Ah,
right on Lake Michigan. But here, no, not that close.
okay. And how far is it to travel to your other property?
It's 264 miles,
Okay, wow, that's quite a hike.
and all of those little plants travel with me. They travel with me back and forth because it's hard to have someone take care of, plant starts.
Yeah,
It's fine when they're outside and they can, help me with watering and stuff. Um, it's harder to kill them, but inside it's really easy to kill them, as you know.
correct. Yeah, it doesn't take much for them to be one day doing beautiful and then the next day they're falling over.
Hey, Trude, how is the weather in Oslo? You're in Oslo, Norway.
Cool. So what, let's see, pre gardening, like you have any like things you set up or things you have to buy, things you collect. Like I collect tchotchkes. You don't realize how much consumerism you are, how consumerist you are until you save the stuff you actually consume. So, a lot of milk cartons, toilet paper rolls are always good. These juice containers, and also these takeout, not even takeout, prepared meals. I do those on occasion. I don't cook everything. I need me some easy freezer meals. So I save those too because they come in handy. Do you have
Well,
any things you
the
like to save before
I
gardening
do.
season starts?
I save a lot of milk jugs for winter sowing.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year I did winter sowing right in the earth. So I cut the bottom out of the milk jug, poked a couple of holes in each side, and then landscape stapled them right over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So after it sprouted, I didn't have to transplant it somewhere, right?
Right. Nice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I decided that is the way to go. But as far as collecting stuff, Costco, we like those
Oh yeah.
street tacos, but
Mhm.
Costco does a lot of things in this container.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is just the best.
Yeah.
For microgreens, for you name it, and then you have an automatic humidity dome
Correct.
with it.
Right.
So that's my favorite thing. And we had the well the well pump go out up at the other house. And so we had to do a lot of bottled water.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no idea how much water you're drinking until you're buying it.
Right. Right.
So I have an exorbitant amount of bottles.
Good. Well,
I justified it though. They were little
Exactly.
greenhouses.
Hi, G Mama. Thanks for being here. So yeah, exactly. I also collect juice or milk on these gallons, and yeah, if there's a power outage and you gotta flush the toilet and wash the dishes and wash your face even, I heat it up on the stove so I don't have to deal with the cold water. It's great to have the excess. But yeah, like having a space to store it is a bit problematic for most of us.
Yeah, even if you put a few in the garage, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you don't have it, you don't have it. And
Right. And I've also collected rainwater outside, so I have a whole bunch of them just frozen now, but you can always thaw those out inside if you needed it. So yeah, I have them. I'm a little bit of a collector of things like that.
so, have you ever tried for your plant sales and so forth, doing them out of the newspaper? The little
I've made them either round or square, like you do all the origami nonsense. And yeah, I've done it. Yeah.
And did that work out okay?
I think so, as long as it's not there for an overly extended amount of time, because you will get mold with all that paper and close quarters and humidity. But yeah, it's worked out, I think. Like just give them a little bit of airspace in between.
Yeah, that's the other thing I save. I save the toilet paper rolls, and they're longer, so it's like it's like a root trainer, for peas and beans and all the things that like something longer.
Yes, I've done corn. I've sold corn in those, so it's easy to like give a bundle to somebody.
Okay. Yeah.
When I sell them, yep.
But when you mentioned that the paper molds,
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that it's going to have a little bit of mold on it, but it seems to be just on the paper and not in the soil.
Right. And you can get it different sizes of your own choosing. You can make it deeper or you can make it shallow. I like the paper. It takes some time, but it's kind of therapeutic too, because you're just there doing crafts, which some of us have gotten away from crafting. So It's nice to get back to that childhood, idea of doing something easy and fun and slow and methodical.
Well, and the other thing that I like is I don't necessarily like to plant, although you can plant. So it comes apart really, really easy once it's been wet.
Right.
You can just put the plant in it without, hurting it.
Exactly.
It's a great thing.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, I like it. I have some still. Like I folded a whole bunch last year, and I still have some in a garbage bag just sitting waiting for me. So thanks for reminding me. I almost forgot about them.
Wow. And you were proactive too and got them ready.
Right. For once in my life. But yeah. Let's see. Okay, so what is like the first among the first things you do to get into the gardening spirit during these winter months? Like I know we talked about
Micro,
microgreens, so let's
yeah,
go there.
yeah, microgreens. I I have some on the go in hemp mat. I use the Terra fiber that's made out of hemp. I love these.
Hmm.
And 3 of them fit perfectly in that Costco container. So here, let me pull one out. It's easier to see.
Yeah.
Audrey uses these. She got me hooked on them. And now, I'm sold because you don't have the soil.
Hmm. Right.
So literally, there's like no reason to have to clean them. You just snip them and eat them.
Right.
I like that part.
And you find that they compost really well, the hemp?
I've never tried to compost them. I
Oh.
probably should.
Okay.
I don't know if you're supposed to reuse them, but I do.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, if you
I,
can.
I've
Oh,
I've used them. I mean, I don't know that I would just like wholesale recommend it, but I haven't had a
right.
problem using them
Right.
multiple times.
Oh, okay. That's good. G
Um,
Mama also uses the hemp mats to grow microgreens. Awesome. Awesome.
Great. Have you ever tried them in the Costco container, G Mama? I mean, it is the bomb. This is one of those. If you weren't here when we were talking about it, from the street tacos, but the Costco sells it in all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
So here's
cookies come in those. Yeah.
here's at all different stages. These are ready to eat. These are we're eating on them right now, and these are just come in about 4 days.
Mhm.
But and it comes with its own humidity dome.
Right.
So once they've sprouted, of course, don't use it. But yeah, it's crazy. Arugula is my favorite. I save it the seed myself because I save it for the seed library up in Door County. The little arugula. This sprouts the fastest.
Ah,
24 hours, and it sprouts. So then you have and I've made a wet mess here. Um, then you have these microgreens already going in 2 days. By 7 days, you could eat them. By 14 days, you definitely can eat them. And if you just keep them going in succession, then it's great. Here, let me show you.
G Mama has dedicated microgreen containers. She's graduated from collecting containers. Good for you, G Mama.
It's kind of a habit though, isn't it? And I've got Al, my husband, in it too, because last night he's like, okay, we're done with this jelly jar. Do you want to save it for anything before I throw it out? And I'm like, oh, that's a good size. Let's save it.
And
So
my
this,
husband knows to ask me before throwing out anything. It's like, do you need this for something?
yeah. So I did multiple
Oh,
days
cute.
of microgreens just to show anybody who hasn't done them before.
Hmm.
And this is a takeaway container. So there's another, saver.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those cotton pads, makeup pads, cotton pads. Fits perfectly in the bottom of there. And I have just found that that's great. So like this was done Friday after you and I talked on Friday.
Okay.
So look at how much growth in
Right.
arugula.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? This is Saturday. So still a lot of growth. Sunday, Monday,
Hmm.
still, really good sprouting going on there. And then this was last night at dinner time. I started this one. So, yep, there's a couple already sprouting, and that's not even 24 hours yet.
Yeah,
It was dinner time last night when I started this one.
nice.
So arugula is like my little champion. Plus they taste good,
Yeah, yeah.
They aren't, it's not as fiery. You know how arugula can be kind of peppery, fiery
Hmm.
tasting in the
Yeah.
garden. When they're little sprouts, they just have a little tinge.
But yeah, right. Yeah, I did start off in those like takeaway containers, and I was using Coco Core as my primary bed. But yeah, it was a pain because when the seeds popped, they would have pieces of Coco Core stuck on them. And then, like my first time doing it, great. My second time, okay. But then after that, I was getting worse and worse at it. I was getting a lot of molding. I was getting sparse germination, and it's not. It's obviously could be the seeds, but there's a lot of seeds there, so I wasn't understanding it. So I got like annoyed and stopped doing it for a little bit, and then I got caught onto the just a sprouts method with the jar, which I
Mhm.
found so much more convenient. And you don't get the density of the greens and the growth, but you're eating it weekly more often, that accounts for whatever minerals and vitamins you may be losing from not eating it at 14 days old. So I really like the jar method, and it's just oops, there we go. So in let's
So
see, I started
explain.
this on Sunday, so it's 4 days of growth.
Whoa.
So by the end of the week, I should have greens. And I just leave this on the windowsill. They're about, I don't know, an inch now, and they'll
Uh-huh.
double in size by the end of the week. And then I just leave them like I have one of those salad containers that has
Mhm.
little vents that I just leave it in the fridge, and then we eat through it through the week if it takes that long.
So what are the sprouts that you're sprouting there?
I believe there's radish, uh, a couple of kinds of cabbage, and maybe broccoli, maybe arugula. I'd have to check the package, but it's called the basic mix. I get mine at True Leaf Market because they do bulk of
Mhm.
the micro seeds, so I like that company for my bulk seed supplies.
So how walk me through the steps because I haven't done it and I really would like to try.
So what I've seen and done is you take, I use about a spoonful, a little bit more than a spoonful, and I put the seeds in and I swirl it with water and I rinse it like 3 times or so, like rinsing rice. And I used to have the cheesecloth, but I decided to splurge on the special cap with the netting already in there.
Got it.
So I rinse it and then I let it sit overnight. That's just how convenient, like if you started during the morning, then by nighttime, you would then dump out the water. And then just every other day, give it a swirl to dump out because it does off gas. If
Okay.
you've ever if you've ever soaked peas or something, you see that the water gets cloudy and there's bubbles. So those things stay in there. So you do rinse that out every day for, the 5 or a week that you're doing it. And I used to cover it up because that's how I first came onto it, that I would put a dish towel over it for the first couple of days and then the last couple of days take off the cloth. But I just saw somebody who leaves it on the windowsill all the time and it's fine. So you don't have to cover it up.
Ah,
That's I don't know why we were covering it up. These things we do. I'm sure there's a point to them at some point, but then somebody comes up with a method that works just fine. So I go with the easiest and least. It doesn't seem problematic, so I don't see why not.
So where did you get
Uh,
that lid? Off
um,
Amazon?
yeah.
Okay, I need to get one of those screen lids. That sounds great. Have you ever done mung beans?
I have not in the sprouts um in this whatchamacallit. I eat mung beans, but I haven't done it as sprouts now. But yeah,
Okay,
they're super easy. Yeah.
yeah, I thought saw somebody do that, and I have a load of mung beans, so I would like to try that. Um, I also bought this wheat berry to either do as sprouts or as microgreens. Have you done those as sprouts?
No. Wheat berry, huh? Is
Wheat
that like
berry.
regular wheat? Like if you grew it out, it's wheat? The wheat plant?
Um,
Or is it some special?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I don't know. Spray it's new to me. I just oh, that looks cool. I have to buy one of those.
Is it like wheatgrass? The stuff people was all the rage, back in the day, wheatgrass juice. Is that the same thing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Um, but it looked neat. I know that at the farmer's market, it's a fortune for like a little 4x4 container of sprouted wheat
Oh
berry
wow.
is like $5. So this whole package was $5. So,
Right.
that's a lot of 40 grams. So that's a lot of loads of sprouts or microgreens. But I
Right.
tell you, you can do it on the cheap. The dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
The dollar store has tons of these. I'm kind of kicking myself because when I went back, this is all they have is the
Oh
salad mix, which is fine.
yeah.
It's got pak choy and mizuna and red acre cabbage, lacinato kale, so all kinds of really good things. But they had one called the hot mix.
Mm-hmm. Ah.
That was tasty. Don't have it anymore. It's sold out.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what was in my basic mix of oh here we go. I found it. Finally. All right. It is broccoli, kale, kohlrabi, arugula, and red cabbage. Those were the seeds in my like I bought a pound of it. So it's gonna take me a while to get through it.
A pound. Yes, it is.
But it's
That's
been
okay. It's good for you.
and it's like it's there. It's if you are in a crisis and you needed seeds, you got seeds. A lot of seeds.
G-Mom is saying I was surprised to see microgreens in the dollar store. Crazy good. And, the peas at the dollar store. This was last year, so it was 4 for $1. Now they're 4 for $1.25. Um, but I go and I buy too many packages. I kind of feel guilty, like I'm wiping the pea section out. But, I sprout them and then use them for, just the pea sprouts in the winter. I've got some of those going right now. Let me grab them. These are ready to be eaten now.
Yeah.
It's just dollar store. That's a hemp mat down in the bottom of there and dollar store peas. Bam. Easy.
So if
And
they were in some kind of soil, would you just keep growing them and they would just keep going? Like you pluck up some and then they keep growing, or would they be done? You think?
Usually I get 2 cuttings off of the
Oh,
sprouts.
okay. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah. That is super, and when you buy the peas at the dollar store, it's amazingly inexpensive.
So
I
that's
like
giving
these.
me ideas. Those little microgreen cups. If like I sold them at my seedling sale,
You
And that
know?
also introduces people to salad because some people like it's too scary for them to eat salad or something. I don't know. But if it's in like little baby, then maybe they'll be more likely to try it out.
You can, you'd have to see if it's cost effective.
Right.
You can buy those little cups, these at the dollar store.
Hmm.
I don't know how many of them you get for $1.25. So you'd have to figure out the cost
Yeah.
of that. And then you could either do this or cut paper
The
towel,
mats. Right.
1 or 2 layers of paper towel.
Hmm.
I saw the coolest thing. I saw somebody like pre-sprouting their, I wish I could remember which channel it was. I watch so many sometimes.
Yeah.
Pre-sprouting their seeds on toilet paper. So
Okay.
little itty
Oh,
bitty pieces of toilet paper
so
in, a little plastic container.
yeah.
And then you can just plant the whole thing because the toilet paper is going to disintegrate for sure.
Yeah.
And you never have to worry about disturbing its little roots if you don't get it right away after it's sprouted,
Right.
because
Right.
life got in the way.
Yeah.
Sound great. I got to try that.
Yeah. The paper towel does get rough. Like once it starts growing into it, then it's hard to pull them apart. I haven't had that experience. So yeah, toilet paper. More reason to stock up on toilet paper. The cheap kind too, not the nice soft ones. The cheap ones.
Side story. When lockdown happened, I had a really nice supply of TP
Yeah.
because I had hosted Christmas. So I wanted to make sure there was plenty of TP in the house. So,
Right.
hey, Audrey.
Nice to have you.
Good to see you. Mm.
All right, let's see. What do we got next? So what have you, I know you've started some stuff. What yeah, what have you started?
I,
For outside.
I, oh, do you want the saga or the short one?
We got time. Give us a saga.
Okay, the saga. So in January, I started my alliums, mostly because I started doing Pete's Challenge in the UK with the giant onions.
Mhm.
And I should have known better. My latest video is all about this. I opened the bucket, which was sealed. And as soon as I opened that bucket, I got a whiff of musty smell. That's the only way I can describe it. It wasn't that yummy, earthy, good smell that you should get. It was a musty smell. I was in a hurry. We were, crunched for time. I'm like, oh, I used it last year. I'm going to just use it. I titled the video "The Nose Knows" because, I just didn't feel, 100% about it. And bam, I started growing fungus within 2 days.
Mhm.
So, it wasn't overwatering.
Right.
It was the soil. And so I had to start over. So I started over. I got a Cocoa Core perlite mix. They had a little feed in it. Opened that bag up and it smelled earthy. It smelled right.
Mhm.
So I'm confident that all my alliums are going to do well. So I've got, all my onions on the go. I've got my shallots on the go. And I did my celery and my celeriac as well because they take a month of Sundays to
Yes.
get going. And I decided to do those in the little Jiffy Pete pellets
Mhm.
because I had those hanging out. But I put those in boiling water too. And my new compost, even though it smelled good, I also did boiling water
Right.
just to be sure.
Yeah, I like to boil the water when I get the bricks, the big bricks of cocoa core, and so I do boil the water to get them hydrated. And plus, it's faster when it's hot water that they hydrate versus when it's cold. And I like to, if I can think of it, I like to water my seedlings in warmer water than cold water because I
Mhm.
think that helps and less shocking. I mean, certain ones, not all of them. Like to my summer ones more so than the brassicas. But I did have that experience. What are those pellets? Alfalfa. I have alfalfa pellets, and I was going to incorporate it into my soil mix. And for some reason, I did a big batch of it, and I left it, and I left it, and I left it, and I left it, and eventually it started to smell. So I put it outside, get some sun on it, and air it out, and dry it up because it wasn't drying. And then I brought it back in, and I had it under cover, and then I opened it, and it's moldy, and I'm like, ah,
Oh,
crap.
oh wow.
And
So
it smells very heavy of ammonia too. So I'm like, ah, there goes. I'll just chuck that batch, but that's okay.
whoa. So have you used it in the garden before? The alfalfa?
Yeah,
pellets?
like just I sprinkle it in the beds and everything, and it breaks down and all just fine. But being in that confined space, the humidity, I guess, yeah, definitely not good.
Good to know. I'm glad you used it because I was like, oh no. I decided to try that for my big gardens,
Mhm.
and I bought 2 bags of alfalfa pellets and spread those.
Mhm.
And then my little guy down the street who came and spread my compost delivery for me on top of that. That's how I put the beds to sleep
Mm,
for the winter
yeah,
because I had heard such good things about alfalfa pellets and
right, yeah,
the nitrogen and so forth.
right.
So
So from now on, just small batch. If it's inside, small batches at a time.
small batches. Yeah. About the water, I actually it's great that it's so close here. I try to fill these up at night
Uh-huh.
before I go to bed so that they're, like room
Room
temperature.
temperature, yeah.
And I have carpal tunnel. So I don't want to squeeze this too many times because it'll just get my carpal tunnel talking to me.
Right.
But these little condiment squeezers, they're meant for like ketchup and mustard and sauces and at the dollar store. And then this is really easy on my, my wrist. It
Yeah.
doesn't get it talking. And you get 2 of them for $1.25 at the dollar store. So that's great. Hey, the other thing I got at the dollar store? Sorry, Trude, you don't have a dollar store in Oslo, but we have a dollar store on every corner in suburbia in America. These are $1.25. They are here, let me open it up. The plant clips. Ooh, that plastic is hard.
Oh.
And they come in 2 sizes for $1.25.
Oh, okay.
So there, and when I go out to the garden, I just like pin it on my clothes. Literally, I pin some of them on my clothes.
Right.
And I go out to the garden to water or do whatever, and I'm always finding something that has to get clipped up, and then I've got them. This is the small one, and then there's the next size up in the package as well. And I did not have one of them break, so the ones that I bought for last year, I've got for this year too.
Oh, nice.
I had a couple where that wire ring came out, but I was just able to put the little wire ring back in. So for $1.25, I don't know how many clips are in here, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think that is like the most amazing value at the dollar store. Amazing value.
G Mama says $10 on Amazon. Same clips.
Same clips?
Sure. So that's cool.
Yeah. So get down to the dollar store and grab a couple packs because I'm telling you, especially for my tomatoes, I do my tomatoes in cages, little old fashioned, but I splurged a few years back now on really heavy duty square ones, not those flimsy ones. And so, sometimes you have to pin the stuff up to the cage.
Yeah.
Same thing with the peppers.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to help them, especially the ones that get really heavy peppers on them.
Yeah.
And those little they're great.
Oh, good.
And what a value.
Let's see, I try to use string or not jute, I guess jute. I've also used clothes pins. And I've got the wooden ones and the ones that are a little more like metal, I guess. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's all sorts of stuff out there.
I like the foam covered wire
Mm-hmm.
too. Have you seen that? And I can reuse it for about 3 years. So I consider that a win.
Yeah.
There's some brands that are better than other brands.
Right.
Like I have a brand that is like beige color. The green is kind of nice because you can't see it, but the
Right.
beige ones, man, I must be reusing that for like the 5th year.
Oh, good.
Just whatever it's made out of is a little better quality.
Mm-hmm. Well, Troll's saying she orders stuff from Temu. I haven't had experience with Temu, so I hope that works out. It's tempting to when they have their commercials. It's tempting.
It is tempting, isn't it? I haven't tried yet, but
yeah.
I'm like, how? It's like even these clips. How can they sell them for that price?
Because then you feel like you're being cheated on all sorts of stuff. If it's that cheap there, why am I paying so much over there?
It boggles my mind how
Right.
It can be so cheap.
Yeah. Oh well. But I do try to become more like long lasting products and not like once a year or once a season products. But yeah.
Well, early on, we didn't have a lot of money, so had to buy cheap.
Right.
That's what we could go with, but you learn quickly, okay, don't do that. Buy a good one, and that one good one I've still got in my arsenal.
Exactly.
The
And
cheap ones.
Save up for the bulk. Save up for something in bulk instead of having to buy it over and over and over. Because the bulk will last you quite a bit.
Right. That's why I have my compost delivered to the house. Because if I bought all of those bags
Oh God.
of compost, it would be probably 2 to 3 times
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
the expense.
Yeah. Do you get good compost where you are? Because ours are, you get the plastic and the rocks and the this and the that. You're lucky you have good compost.
In the stores, I have my favorites that I go to. At Menards, I like their mushroom compost because I know it's always really good. When I'm at Home Depot, I like their this, that, and Lowe's, I like their this. I've learned which brand I like from each of them.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the delivery, I use this place, and it's right here in town because their leaf mold is OMRI certified.
Oh, great.
So organic certified.
Yeah.
They don't certify their regular compost. They can't because they don't, know.
Can't control everything.
Yeah. And, so to buy that much and have it be tainted would just be heartbreaking.
Right.
Have you ever watched the channel Roots and Refuge?
Oh, yeah. I love Jess.
And when she had that big compost delivery that was,
Yeah.
immunoparalids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that was rough.
Right. But she
But then
recovered pretty quickly. So that
she
was
did. But they had to do a lot of mitigation to that
Mhm.
soil to get it, clean again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No matter how much you learn, like how masterful you are at something, something will always pop up that you didn't expect. And you have to take all that knowledge you had and apply it.
Well, I've gotten so if I try a new brand, I do the bean test.
Uh-huh.
And because apparently that is the best thing to sprout, because it'll sprout quickly and it'll show signs of, aminoparalids or whatever in the soil. So,
Yeah, that's what I did with the alfalfa pellets because they weren't labeled, organic or anything on them. So I was like, I want to make sure this doesn't have any chemicals on it. So I sprouted mung beans actually, and I put it in, a mix with the alfalfa, and they were fine. So then that's how I knew that they would be fine in general. So yeah.
well, it's kind of crazy because when I bought them, they were at the Farm and Fleet store, and they were advertised for horses,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
edibles for horses. So you'd think, oh, it should be good. It's being sold as food for horses. Well,
Right.
I mean, I scoured that bag and it actually was OMRI certified.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, you can't be too careful.
I had to drive a minute to go to the Farm and Fleet to get them too. There was like nothing,
Uh,
in a close distance.
yeah. Yeah, we have one. Well, we have two, but one has like so much drama behind it, so I try to stay away from that one. But we have, yeah, the farmers, not the farmers, the feed store specifically. Instead of the Tractor Supply is the big one, obviously.
Hmm.
But we have the feed store, which has, mom and pop vibe. So I try to go to them as often as possible, keep them alive because I don't want Tractor Supply to take over.
Uh-huh.
But they're limited in supplies of some things, so I do still have to go to Tractor Supply for other things.
Well,
But I do.
because you're homesteading, the
Mhm.
chickens and everything, you're more into it than we are.
Yeah.
Backyard garden. We go in there and it's like fun. Oh, they've got baby chicks. Let's go look
I
at the
know.
baby chicks. Like, oh, udder cream. What is this used for? You're turning the packages around and it's like a little adventure. You're in there for 2.5 hours just having fun.
Well, Tractor Supply gets me because they have a lot of sales of things. I'm like, oh, I want that. But I can't get it. Oh.
It's kind of fun because they sort of run, a different world than the other big box stores that are close.
Mhm.
So it's fun. Um, I find it enjoyable anyway.
Let's see. Well,
So what
what
do
do you
you
got?
have on the go
Oh
right
yeah, what do
now?
I have on the go? I my celery and celeriac are off to the races. I just up potted them and they transplanted really well. I have my thyme, oregano. My mints did not. I had limited seeds, so but my spearmint did okay. My peppermint did less so I have less peppermint than I was hoping. I'm still looking for choco mint, the plant, and Micro Farmer or Crash Out Gardener as he is now. He has the plant, and he had given me. He had uprooted some, but they didn't make it over the summer. So I'm still on the hunt for the seeds. But it's very hard to come by, and I don't want to just buy one seed. That's expensive with the shipping and everything. If I were to go on Etsy or something, so I'm still on the hunt for hopefully a fellow neighbor somewhere has a plant. But I'd really,
Is it one you can get a seed for?
yeah, I've
Um,
seen them
you've
here
seen
and
them
there.
before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like I
But it's
love lemon.
usually like when I'm not thinking about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I want that. And then it's like, oh, but I don't need anything else. So I'm like, I can't get it now. So I always forget it when I'm bulk ordering things. I just put in my peppers because they take so long. Um, and also, this is the first year that I've done eggplant super early. So I did it at the same time as the peppers because I don't get eggplants till way into the end of the season. And then I have a bunch of little ones because it's getting cold already. So I'm jump starting the eggplants and hoping that I get them earlier. And also last year I got rabbits. I hadn't fortified my space yet, so rabbits had gotten my starts. So I was just like way behind on my eggplants. But this year will be the year. And it was nice because I had cooked, what was it? My coconut curry without curry, my chicken curry the other day. And I was able to fish out my eggplant, which I like to incorporate into this dish, and that I had from the previous year. And it was so nice to have that, eggplant that I grew in my food. It's always it feels good to know that you put your own ingredients into something.
Isn't it crazy how we're preserving at the time when everything is the most manic in the garden? Just coming in like crazy, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't. But your January and February and March self just appreciates that.
That's right.
Because you have that little taste of summer from the year before, right?
Yeah.
It's nice.
And what else do I have going? Can't remember. Oh, my artichoke's looking good. I'm hoping this will be my year because I get the plant nice and bushy, but I still haven't gotten a flower.
Oh.
So I'm hoping I'm doing it earlier and earlier. So hoping this year will be that early time. And if we do have a cooler spring, that will also help with that. I haven't been successful with overwintering things outside, like putting hoops on things. It just, the season ends and I'm just done. I'm not going to go out there and put hoops on things and plastic covers. Plus the snow load we get is just so heavy that half of the time everything collapses, and then it's like, and then you can't get to it without like ripping up and tearing up stuff, and the ground is frozen. So it's just a lot for me to do like winter preparation stuff for the garden. I mean, someday hopefully I'll get better at it, but I'm not there yet.
I have one cold frame that goes right over the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's made out of the plastic that's kind of.
Is it hard?
Corrugated.
Hard?
Yep,
oh, okay.
hard plastic that's like this.
Yeah.
And it's probably 3 feet by 2.5 feet. Mm-hmm. So it's a decent little space inside. And I've done like spring onions and spinach the most successfully inside that.
Yeah.
But honestly, once the light starts going low in December, it stops growing and doesn't really pick up growing until, probably end of February.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really harvest from it,
right?
But it does put you ahead. But dollars to donuts, most years I get aphids in there. I don't know. It just warms it up a little bit faster, and they just, there's aphids on everything. But it's fun, I mean, I had some leaks. I mean, we had so many leaks this year. One person doesn't need to grow that for the two of us, as many as I do. So I just threw the cold frame over those leaks. So we'll see what's happened come, March with those leaks. If nothing else, I'm hoping it's kept the root balls nice so that I can let them go to seed. Because I did that last year and I got a lot of seed off of the leeks. Mm-hmm. One leek. So I should have more. And the flowers are, those,
yes.
they're gorgeous. And the bees, well, that's sort of my motto. If you really want bees in your yard or pollinators, then let some kind of a vegetable go to flower, because they would prefer to eat that than any bloom that you have out there for them, flower wise. At least that's
I find they like the kale and the broccoli flowers. I have seen that. Yeah. Oh. And I took my leeks and also just sprinkled the seeds all over the beds. So hopefully I won't have to do too much work with leeks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think
that would be, that would be great. With leeks, I tend to plant them in a little clump
Hmm.
and then I let them get, like pen size.
Okay.
And then once they're pen size, then I plant them out in individual holes and I plant them deep, at
Okay.
least 6 or so inches down. So you get that nice long
Hmm.
white blanched end on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can always, once they sprout, yay. Trudy says, I thank my former self for the herbs in the freezer. Yeah.
I have too much celery. I don't know what to do with it. It's in the freezer.
Cream of celery soup.
Oh, man, there you go.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't had that.
It's
It's
good.
just plain celery and cream, and salt and pepper.
Uh,
Nothing else.
yeah, a little thyme
Thyme. Okay.
and a little onion,
Yeah. All right. I'll try it.
chicken broth. I like chicken broth best. A little chicken broth in there too.
Right.
I'll dig up a
Well,
recipe.
what do you have in the garden that's I guess perennial, like thyme? You said I have thyme in the garden. I'm sure it'll come back up, and oregano. What do you got?
I have uh, whew, rhubarb,
Yes.
German thyme, lemon thyme, oregano, more lemon thyme because it's my favorite herb. And did you know you can't do seeds for that? Could only do a cutting.
Oh, okay.
And then my fruits. I've got
Mhm.
cherries, mulberries, currant, gooseberries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and gooseberries.
Nice. Let's see. I planted some grapes last summer, so I'm hoping they make it through the winter. And some thornless blackberries. This is my second attempt. I've got the apples and the pear. There's one pear. I have to get another pear tree because I think you need two. I think.
Two.
I'm not sure. Yeah. And then there's some Bing cherries, a couple of those. I got elderberries and asparagus. I love my asparagus patch. I'm going to take them with me if we ever move because I'm not starting all over again. But yeah, that's the asparagus first part of spring or later in the spring is so enjoyable and just it's another one of those snacks that you just go out and just eat it right then and there. I enjoy those so much.
So you said you're trying blackberries again. So you had a fail the first time?
Yeah, it was just in an area that was not getting watered because it was too far from my periphery, so I wasn't getting to it.
Okay. Um, because I have black satin
Mm-hmm.
and Chester, and they do great. Um, so if you're looking for a one that's probably going to be good in your zone too, though both of those are good, and they're both tasty,
Okay.
and they're both really good producers. I mean, I get a lot of fruit.
Are they the thorn or thornless
Thornless.
varieties?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I sw- so I swore off thorny stuff and took it all out of the yard.
All right.
And then last year I saw these beautiful roses at Costco for
Yeah.
cheap,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I ordered the currants and the gooseberries, and then of course the
Ah.
gooseberries have like vicious thorns on them. So thorns are back in my life.
Yeah, I get this. I think it's like a wild rose. I forget multiflora rose, which is just a wild, rose around here in the east or northern part of the country. And yeah, they are a menace in the summertime. I'm always having to machete my way around them, and
You know,
they're hard
you
to pull up. So you can, I mean, unless you have machinery, you just have to keep hacking and hacking and hacking every year to just get by.
so years ago I bought a pair of leather gloves with the, what is that, like a gaunt, is that called a gauntlet when it, shields the whole arm? So they go all the way up to the elbow. I still have them.
Oh, good.
I haven't worn them out because I really only put them on for, nasty, rough jobs or thorny stuff. So,
Right.
they don't get, a lot of wear and tear like your everyday garden gloves do.
Yeah.
So
I
that's a
have a
good one.
couple on my cart, like my shopping list on Amazon where you save stuff. I have a couple of those. I haven't decided which one to get. But it's in my list.
I got the good leather ones,
Yeah. Okay.
and they were, gosh, I must have bought those 20 years ago. They were
Wow.
expensive back then. It was close to $40 back then.
Yeah. Well worth it.
Uh,
Yeah.
but they're still with me. They'll outlive me. They will.
I do have like I think it's Kevlar or something like Kevlar, so it's
Oh,
just normal
wow.
length gloves, but those also help keep away most of the thorny stuff and just in general.
I would think so. Kevlar. Yeah. Wow.
Plus they're waterproof, which I like too.
Great.
Whatchamacallit? Do you do a lot of composting?
I have a compost bin. I have a geo bin, one of those plastic round ones.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of it, from my view here in the house, I have some like rounded trellises that I put together so it covers the front of the round geo bin. And then I have one of those autumn joy, or no, sweet autumn
Okay.
clematises on the front. So
Oh.
it covers the front so we can't see it. The neighbors can't see it because they have a row of hedge on the other side. So it's perfect. I'd like to have a 3-bay system, but the reality is we produce about enough for one bin.
Right.
I'll have, probably 5 to 6 wheelbarrows of finished compost out of my one bin.
Oh, good. Wait, is that a static bin or is that a rotating? The
No,
compost?
it's I get it all filled by the end of the season, and I have a corkscrew
Okay.
tool.
Neat.
It's easier. Although this past year I did end up going in there with a pitchfork because we just had put so much heavy stuff at once. Oh Lordy, I forgot how much work that is. That corkscrew tool is cool, you can aerate it and it's work, but it's not a workout. Get the workout, man. You worked. You worked. Oh my goodness.
I find composting one of the more satisfying things in gardening. After that finished product, it's so nice.
You have a multi-bay system?
Not exact. Well, it's supposed to be, but at the moment, it's just one big giant mess. I'm trying to. I'm gonna need to move it. It's one of my projects for the spring is to reconfigure the compost, and because right now it's like uphill of the chicken coop, so I want it downhill. So I'm working a little bit less to get it together, and I do want to segregate the space as into a multi bin versus just a one giant where I'm plopping back and forth. We'll see. So this is the clematis. I like that plant. Is it browns in the winter, right? It's not an evergreen, correct?
It's not evergreen, but it has so much foliage on it that
Okay.
it's with the snow on it, it's a
Okay.
screening.
It stays covered.
It's
Okay.
screening.
All right.
Yeah, and
Does
that
it have
one,
fruit? Is this a flower or does it fruit?
it flowers. This
Okay.
one flowers in the fall in like late September, little white flowers covered.
Nice.
And you really have to be careful when you go over there when it's in full bloom. Number one, it smells beautiful. That's why it's called sweet autumn. But the pollinators are like, they're there.
All right, so maybe
Thank you.
not on the compost bin. Okay,
Yeah, don't put it.
good to know.
It's it's not the best, especially if the kids are going to be there. Because
Okay.
oh, we when my mother-in-law stopped going up to the house in Wisconsin, we had to clean out a lot of food that was up there.
Ah,
Um, that just was old and tucked to the back and whatever. So, I had a lot of macaroni and cake mixes and I mean, you name it. I
right.
put it all in a big bucket and then I took a, a sledgehammer and I crushed
Hmm.
everything so it was tiny. And then I fed it to my compost bin. I had the hottest compost bin. It was
Right.
too hot. I mean, I
Hmm.
had to keep cooling it down. It was so hot.
Wow.
But I had the best compost in the spring. Oh, did I have the best compost in the spring.
Oh,
So
good.
this fall, I did a clean out of my own cupboards, and I had some pretty old oatmeal and a few things to put in there. And it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to fire that thing up like
Okay.
crazy. It's fun to
High
stick with
Shane.
it. I'm like a little kid sticking that thermometer in there, and I bet your children would enjoy that.
I don't know.
Monitoring.
They'd be like, ew.
Oh,
Well, my son likes the grubs that come in and, that come in there. My issue is in the winter, it's so hard to, it's frozen. Like I have a tumbler that I'm using in the winter, but when it gets so cold, it's everything freezes in there and it's so hard to turn or even open the door to fill it. So I'm having the hardest time getting rid of my kitchen compost because I have nowhere to put it.
oh,
Ugh. And then it fills up, but there's snow on the ground, so I can't transfer because I would need to put it in a wheelbarrow and transfer it to the the bin that's on the ground where
okay.
it rests. So I can't transfer the stuff in the tumbler to my next bin. So it's just another one of those stumbling blocks in gardening.
Well, you got to figure. You just kind of have to figure things out because we 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 had a lot of water at one point. We were just getting too much rain, and I was afraid it was just going to wash all the goodness out of my compost bin. And so we went to the store, and I'm like, what can I cover this with? And I found a fire ring cover, a
Oh yeah.
fire pit ring cover with a handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't quite go to the edges of the geo bin, but it covers the bulk of the. So I can work on how much moisture goes in it and or
Right.
not. But I just had to, dumb luck. Okay, I need something. What? And I wanted it to be easy too. There's the rub. You can find things, but is it an easy thing?
Right. Yeah, I find things all the time on, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, but I'm all like, do I want to go there? Do I want to drive there? Is that something I can do myself and be safe? There's all these stumbling blocks. I would buy all the things on Facebook Marketplace if I could, especially the free things. I would just be like, give it to me.
Oh, my girlfriend's like really good at that. She's got it down pat. She'll go get it. I know Robin will like that or whatever. She she garbage picked the most gorgeous planter for me. It was a three-tier, one of those wire planters. It's probably about 5 feet tall
Oh,
with the
nice.
multiple tiers. The only thing is you kind of have to jerry rig the cocoa
Ah,
liner to go in
yeah.
it because you can't buy the right size ones. That's it. But I can I can live with
Right.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen those around here at the nurseries for $400 and $500.
Oh my
She
gosh.
garbage picked it for me.
Holy
Robin
moly.
will like that. Yeah, I will.
Oh, that's a great friend.
I know.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Uh,
Wow. We've been talking for an hour. That's
yeah.
crazy. It just went by fast.
Yeah. Well, now that we are at the hour, we can wrap it up if you'd like. It was a good idea. The corrugated panels. I forgot about those for covering in the winter, because I always think I just use plastic. But yeah, I think the corrugated panels would be better because they are stable, and the snow won't smush them quite as much.
You know, what's it called? The Rusted Garden Homestead.
Mhm. Oh yes, I like him.
Gary P.
Pelagic. Yeah.
He does that. What he just
Mhm.
takes the big sheets of, the corrugated plastic and makes like tunnels.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the ends can come on and off.
Right.
Now I've never
Yeah,
tried that, but that's a cool concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watch so many channels, and it takes a while for some things to click, and it has to be like the certain person has to say it for it to be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, you kind of then you go in and out
Yeah.
Of what you're watching at the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Like some influencers will influence you one day, and some other influencers another day.
Yeah, I've got my steady eddies that I always watch, but I, kind of go in and out
Mm-hmm.
with some other ones.
Yeah. Some people I just watch like once in a while just to keep up, but I don't religiously watch them. I'm not invested so much in all the other people as other people. Like Jess from Roots and Refuge, I am invested fully in that family. I will I want to be adopted into that family.
Well, she's got a great channel, and the Hollers, the
Okay,
Holler
I've seen some of them.
Homestead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I watch that one religiously too. I think that's probably my favorite homesteading channel.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a few others I, pop in and out of, but I don't watch every single video, but I watch a lot of them.
Yeah, me too. More than
I
I
don't
should.
watch real TV anymore. I just watch YouTube, I swear.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, I'll let you go. It's been long. Have you had lunch yet? I haven't had lunch yet.
No, I'm ready. There's
Okay.
tummy growls.
Well, thank you again for coming up, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
That would be lovely.
Yay. All right, everybody, check out Robin Gardens. It's in the chat, the link, if you want to click on that. Otherwise, at Robin Gardens on YouTube. Check her out and check me out. Subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. We are getting into the season of growing things, so we will have a lot more in store for everybody. And on that note, thank you all for being here. Replay people, thanks for stopping by. Thank you, Robin. I'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.